What do we have on the agenda?
Okay, cool. I figured now would be a good time to talk about the spring checklist. So, all the little things that you can do to your home and the systems of your home specifically that will give it more life. Um, there's a lot of little things that people should be doing, not only yearly, but multiple times a year that, again, extend the life of the systems of their home, which is extremely important because it saves you money over time, and everybody wants to do that. So, yeah, just really basic stuff. So, um, yeah, and I'm sure that you've got a lot of opinions about this as well. So
Oh
let's get
yeah,
started.
I love exterior maintenance. So if you want me to cover that part, I can, but you
Okay,
take it.
cool. Well, let's start with the big one, which is roof. Um,
Yeah.
you know, every year you should be checking, especially where we live. There's a lot of moisture and moss, basically. And if you are making sure that your roof is clean with moss removal and whatever else, it's going to last a lot longer. I mean, you could make there's people who install 30-year roofs that don't last 30 years, and there's a reason. So I don't know if you wanted to expand on that, but
Yeah, fun
it's a
fact,
really big one.
average roof in Oregon lasts 16 years, average 30-year roof. So it's
I didn't
actually a
know
lot.
that.
Yeah, it's one of the
Oh, wow.
lowest in the country because basically we have, the winters are pretty cold, below
Mhm.
freezing, but then the summers can get like last summer was 115. And
Yeah.
so you have
Yeah.
crazy changes in weather. And
Hmm.
then lots of moisture. And so it's just constantly beating on it. So yeah, one of the biggest things is like I always get when Costco has the moss killer, I always
Hmm.
grab two of those, like more than I need. But and then I
Hmm.
just throw it on, so it's going to be basically go on multiple times a year.
Yeah.
Keep your roof clean. So that's super important and really easy. If you don't want to go up on your roof, just have someone else that can.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
I was honestly just going to say that because we have some really great people that we work with that we can share with
yeah,
anybody who's interested. And they also have different types of products that they'll offer you. It's like, well, this one will do this one will last you 2 years, this one will be this. And
yeah,
it's just really important. And yeah, I don't necessarily want to get on my roof, so I hire it out. But
yeah.
yeah.
No, it to me, it's almost one of those things where if you see it like at a Costco, it's that time of year. And so if you're not going to do it, just call someone, you know?
Yep. Yep. And,
Yep.
we've had examples of clients where, we go to a listing appointment and I say, I ask about the age of the roof and I have even gone so far as to say, it looks newer. And I said, no, 25 years old. But it's because they're those type of people who take care of the
Yeah.
roof.
Yes.
And if you don't, we've all seen the roofs that, look terrible. So, yeah.
Yeah. Another big thing on roof is this time of
Hmm.
year, especially if you haven't been, looking at your gutters, but gutters are going to be,
Yeah.
if you haven't done anything, gutters, like clean your gutters out. Because if you don't, it overflows and then the water can go into the basement,
Yep.
or just go into the crawl space and then it creates other issues. So,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but I don't know if it's most, but a lot of foundation leaks or basement leaks is from gutters, actually,
Oh, I bet
and
it's
not directing the water away.
yeah, exactly. Because a lot of around Portland, we don't put it into the drain pipe anymore that
Right.
goes out to the city street. They
Hmm.
want it to go out into the property. So if you have that diverted where it's going back into your foundation, you get leaks. I mean,
It's
we
a
had
problem.
someone that I'm not going to say the name, but it was pouring rain. It was like the most rain we had in a day, and their basement's
Yeah.
flooding. And I go
Yep.
over there, gutters are full, they're completely coming over the water
Waterfall.
over the
Yeah.
gutters, and it is just drenching their basement. We cleaned the gutters really quickly and diverted the water away, and it fixed it. I
Yep.
mean, it's just
Yep.
you know that's so simple, gutters, but you don't think about it always. So
It's simple, but it's huge at
yep,
the same
those are
time.
probably the
So
most important too. But what else you
yeah.
got?
Yeah. Okay, so this is a small one, but it's just, it's important. Just monitor the concrete, power wash. It's back to moss. We live
Yep,
in this wet area. Um, just making sure, looking for cracks and that kind of thing in the concrete to prevent further decay
yep.
because it is your responsibility as a homeowner. So,
That's what
yeah.
I'm doing this weekend. Power washing driveway, the sidewalks, and then the house too. You can kind of lightly power wash the house if it's getting any dirt and stuff on it.
Be
Uh,
careful with that though. A
yes,
soft
don't
wash.
don't shoot in the don't shoot in the windows, and yeah,
Yeah. 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 You will break your windows and you might scrape the paint off if it's too powerful. Same with the roof. Do not power
exactly.
wash a roof.
Don't. Yep,
Um, yeah. Another one is, as the weather starts to get a little bit warmer, run the outside faucets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. You can in checking your outside faucets right now, just in case,
there's
anything
leaks.
bursts. Yep. Yep.
Exactly. Yeah, especially after our, 14 degrees a couple weeks ago.
Because
So
nobody ever really goes in the crawl space. That's kind of, I guess, another important thing this time of year. Like, just if you can, just peek your
yes.
head in the crawl space, get a
Hmm.
flashlight, just look around. If there's water
Hmm.
down there, that's something that could likely be a really easy fix. But it can be like we talked about. It can be gutters leaking, or it could
Hmm.
be a small burst in a pipe, or
Hmm.
something. So
Yeah. And that's the thing is a lot of people don't go in their crawl space ever. And then it's probably what comes up in our inspection reports most often is dirty crawl spaces. The screens on the perimeter were knocked off, rodents got in,
yeah,
water's down there, it smells. I mean, it's actually pretty easy to maintain, but if you haven't gone down there in 15 years, you know, you might be surprised what you see.
yeah, and it's the
So,
same
yeah,
thing. If you don't want to go down there, just have someone else look at it for you.
yeah, yeah.
Your kid,
Um,
neighbor.
yeah, it is pretty gross down there, or it can be pretty gross down there, but
Yeah,
yeah.
but you don't really want it to be. Like you shouldn't
Yeah.
have a bunch of spiders and bugs down there either.
Hmm.
So yeah, pest control is,
Yeah.
something that's somewhat important too.
Yeah, exactly. The next topic would be just kind of HVAC system. So, furnace and air conditioning. So, similar to the roof, if you take care of your furnace, it will last a lot longer. And it's pretty simple, replacing those filters. That can make your furnace last a lot longer.
Yeah.
So, the average life of a furnace is about 20 years, and it can actually last a lot longer than that as long as you take care of it. If you don't, it could be 10 years or less. So,
Yep.
yeah, and those are expensive. That's not a cheap thing.
Yeah, I mean, in the services, if you hire a company, like normally they put their little sticker on the furnace or the AC,
Hmm.
your electrical panel, and so it's
Hmm.
really easy to remember who you called. But again, like we have those people, but it's $100 to $200 if you have AC too to get that
Hmm.
service, and it goes a
Yeah,
long way.
it
And a lot
totally
of times,
goes a long way.
yeah, and they'll bring extra filters for you too.
Hmm.
They don't really mark those up much, so they can just grab
Yep,
the filter from them. But
yep,
yeah,
yep. And then also just checking your AC that is typically on the exterior of the home. This is kind of a gross example, but it's come up a lot in inspection reports that like an animal has
yeah,
urinated in it.
yeah.
And it's not great. And so just kind of monitoring that and just seeing what's going on so you can prevent stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, and if you have a furnace or AC, especially AC service, they'll look at it and like you'll see a lot of ACs over time. Like trees will grow up and the root systems will
Yeah.
push the platform up. And so now they're angled sideways. And
Hmm.
that can cause issues with your AC lasting very long too. And the efficiency of it, it needs to be level. That's
Hmm.
normally a pretty easy fix. So another reason kind of to have someone out there, unless you know what you're doing, obviously. But yeah,
Yeah. 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 So yeah, that's kind of the HVAC AC system. I think another one is your deck. Again, that's another thing. You don't want leaves sitting on it, especially if you have, and we live in an area that's so wooded, and maple leaves, oak leaves, even pine needles, that kind of stuff shouldn't be sitting on your deck. And so that to me is actually more of a year-round thing, is just making sure that you're putting that off of the deck because that's going to cause dry rot.
yep, yep,
And then
definitely.
in addition to that, making sure it's clear, but your deck does need to be stained. I mean, it used to, when I was a kid, that was my summer job, was staining all of the decks. So
Yeah, every
yeah,
year
and
you
they
got
lasted a long time. Yeah. And
yeah,
when I sold my parents' house last year, it was the same decks that we had when I was a kid. So, if you take care
30,
of it, it lasts a long
40-year-old
time.
decks. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So yeah.
No,
Um,
everybody's going to that. Wow, I'm blanking on the name. Uh, the non-wood product.
yeah,
Well,
Trex
yeah,
or
thank you.
the type of
Yeah,
material, yeah.
Trex. Yeah, that material is like good, but it's also doesn't look as good. And wood lasts for a long time if you maintain it.
Yep.
Like everybody needs
Yep.
a
Hmm.
blower. Like just have a
Yep.
blower. You can just blow it off
Hmm.
when you see the leaves, and then yeah,
Yep.
power washing this
Yep.
time of year. You can probably not yet. I mean, power washing starts like when it's not going to be pouring down rain all the time. And you power wash
Hmm.
and then refinish, like you just said. Not
Yeah.
that big.
Yeah, exactly. And really quick on Trex, the one that, it's nice because you're not going to get dry rot, but the sun does warp it. So
Yeah.
if the sun hits it in a certain way, I honestly don't know what you do to prevent that. And wood's not going to warp like that. So anyway, yeah.
The newer Trex is a little better than the old stuff, but the old
Yes,
stuff
that's true.
Yeah, it's just
Yeah.
it's almost like people it's dirtier because it's really easy to power wash. People don't think about it. They don't think they need to maintain it. And but it
Mm,
is easy to power wash it and it comes back to life. So that is the
yeah.
benefit of it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And then speaking of decks, just repair and reseal wood around the house. So that could be, that could be your siding, that could be the deck itself. But again, it's wood and it's wet outside. So just monitoring that and just making sure that it's not decaying and having dry rot.
yeah, especially around windows. If you don't have eaves, like
Yeah.
especially on the sides of houses, uh,
Hmm.
monitoring just caulking, too, because you can always recalk and just touch up paint those
Yep.
areas and you're not gonna have any water. So,
Yep. 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 Siding is no joke to replace. So you want to maintain that.
correct. Yes.
Yeah. Another one is if you have a sprinkler system, it's kind of similar to running the faucets. Just run it to make sure that it's still working and that something didn't break over the winter or something like that.
Yeah. Good. And that all these things like too, if you start them now in the before spring officially starts or even like early parts of spring, all
Hmm.
those like landscaping people aren't as busy. And so if
Yeah, that's so true.
you can get
Yeah.
like your AC is going to go out in the summer if you don't maintain it. But that's when all the HVAC people are busy, you
Yep.
know, and the
Hmm.
furnace goes out in the winter when HVAC
Yep.
people are also
On
busy.
Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thanksgiving or Christmas is when they go
Yeah,
out.
exactly. Exactly. When you have guests. Yeah. Um, yeah. So another one is just inspect windows and doors. You know, they
Yeah.
also need care and some are failing. So you might need to take a look at that. And then the last one that we have, and by the way, there's so many more that we could mention, but the last one that we have is just sprucing up the lawn. Yard care can get really out of control. And so just again, it's just if you maintain it, it's easy. It's like cleaning your house, If you're, constantly cleaning up after yourself and cleaning yourself, it's easy to clean the house. But if you're never cleaning it, it's going to take you 2 days. So, it's kind of the same idea.
Yeah, I mean that's the benefit of Oregon with the rain is that things grow very fast.
Yes.
So, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
maintaining
Hmm.
that stuff is you kind of have to do it all the time, but now is a great time.
That was a great
Yeah.
time.
I
Yeah.
think I think the overall though, like how we started, it's just roof and making sure water isn't going anywhere.
Hmm.
So water, you'll see water in crawl space. Like the crawl space water is troublesome. It's normally pretty easy to fix it, but the way you prevent that is by keeping on your roof and your gutters, and
Hmm.
then obviously your pipes. So that's another thing that's actually pretty nice with all the new water systems and the way they bill is if the water system ever sees an increase in your bill, they send you a message, and they'll actually a lot
Yeah.
of times
It's so nice.
even turn your
Yeah.
water off.
Yeah.
So we don't have to be as diligent about it, but you don't water's bad for houses. Yeah. So
Yeah. Yeah.
anything else on that
Yeah.
or
I think I mean, of course, we could always suggest many more things, but I think that roof, um, water, and HVAC, those are probably the most important, but all of these are important. So, yeah, it's just those are the things that get very, very costly and quick. So, it's really important whether I mean, even if you're thinking about selling down the road and you don't want to have to replace the furnace during the transaction, make sure you're having it serviced and you keep the record so that you can provide that to the buyer. And if you're not selling, it's just so that you can have a system that lasts longer. So, yep,
exactly? Yep.
yep,
Save money.
yep.
Perfect. All right. Well,
All
I think
right.
that's covers it.
All righty.
All righty. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, thanks. Bye.